Let me define healthy position. It's like, what is the healthy position? It isn't back as necessarily as far as it could go. It isn't like pushing it into the glenoid fossa. It's the position that allows the mandible and the condyle at the end of the mandible to go back to its most physiologic position under the circumstances. In other words, the best centric relation under the circumstances. For those that are extremely well schooled in centric occlusion, centric relation, I mean, there's all kind of philosophies about this, but you know, in doing an exam, you can push the mandible back to its most posterior superior position, and that's where you take a centric relation bite. Well, that would be your most honest, significant centric relation bite, but it may not be the most physiologic for the joint. So the point is that centric relation, when you unload the joint in the most physiologic position, will give you the best response to decreasing the inflammation. And I saw this in a patient, and when I see that, the solution is to bring it to the patient's attention. And when you bring it to the patient's attention, quite often they don't know they're doing that, and it's a habitual thing. It may have to do with them trying to get around the device and bring their mandible forward, playing with the device, and it's something that they may do naturally. And it brings me back to years and years ago when I first started. I mean, this was a good 10 years ago. I found, I examined and did a consultation for a young 16-year-old female, very pretty girl. And when I examined her, her centric occlusion looked fairly normal. Her facial profile looked fairly normal. But when I did a thorough examination, I found that her centric relation and centric occlusion were that far apart, and that she had found that it looked so much better to bring her mandible forward to a centric occlusion. She did it for looks. She did it constantly. She had a class 2 occlusion. She had a class 2 mandible. She had mandibular retrognathia, which is right up my alley as an oral and maxillofacial surgeon.